It was a different kind of Passover meal, to say the least. I remember right when I sat down, Philip leaned over to me and he whispers, "Hey, Thomas, I feel like something special is going to happen tonight." I looked at him and I said, "I doubt it." I was wrong. Jesus got it from the table and he walked over and he grabbed a basin of water and a towel. I remember at the time thinking to myself, now what's Jesus doing with the foot water? I doubt he's going to wash somebody's feet. I was wrong. He knelt down and began to wash Bartholomew's feet. Bart just sat there. He didn't say anything. He didn't move. None of us did. Jesus finished and went on to James and Andrew and the rest of us. I remember at the time thinking, this is so strange, yet so wonderful. I doubt anyone's going to say anything, right? I was wrong. You know who broke the silence? Peter.
"No way are you going to wash our feet." That's what I told him. He could wash other people's feet, but he wasn't going to wash mine. So I looked at him and I said, "Jesus, you're not going to wash my feet. I mean, you're the king." And then he looked at me and he said, "Well then, you can't have anything to do with me." And I'm like, ouch, okay, wash my feet, wash my hands, wash my whole body if you have to. He just looked at me and he said, "No, your feet will be just fine, Peter." I mean, in the midst of washing our feet, he teaches us servanthood.
Then Jesus took some bread and some wine, he blessed it, and he served it to us. And he said it was a new covenant with his blood. And he said, "Tonight all of you will lose faith in me." I remember thinking right then, lose faith in you? Never. But I didn't say anything. I just sat there.
I couldn't just sit there. I had to say something. So I looked at him and I said, "Jesus, I love you. You can count on me. Everybody else may fall away, but I will not. You can count on me." He looked at me and he smiled and he said, "Peter, you'll deny me 3 times before tomorrow morning." Ouch! Next thing I knew, we were wrapping things up and heading to the garden to pray.
Once we got to the garden, it just got crazy. Jesus asked Peter, James, and myself to go a little further in the garden with him to pray. And we did. Well, we tried. We kept falling asleep. And Jesus kept waking us up. I remember once he said, "The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." That's true. It's all a blur. And to think this whole mess got started because of Judas. Did he really think what he was doing was right?
There he is. The one off praying by himself. That's the one you want. Now the others, they'll try to come up and create some sort of scene. Don't worry about them. The one that I kiss on the cheek, that's the one you want. Now, 30 pieces of silver. That's what we agreed on, right? 30. All right. Now forget about the rest. The one that I kiss on the cheek, that's the one you want.
A kiss? Judas betrays Jesus with a kiss of a friend. Then it got crazy. I mean, Peter grabs a sword and cuts this guy's ear off. And Jesus reaches down, picks it up, and puts it right back on the guy's head. And then they took him. I'd love to tell you that we fought for him, but we didn't. Everybody ran. I ran. I'm so ashamed.
What have I done? What have I done? What was I thinking? I'm so stupid. I've killed him? I've killed him. I've, 've, 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 'v 've, 'v 've, 'v 've, 'v 've, 'v 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 'v
I crucified Jesus. That's what the crowd wanted, and that's what they got. Personally, I don't think that man deserved that, but I was just a soldier doing my job. When the governor handed down his sentence, that's when I went to work. I loved that job. I felt like I was administering justice every time I nailed someone to a tree. But that man didn't deserve that.
Makes no sense. There I was, rotting in a jail cell for stealing, murdering, you name it, and I had done it. I knew the next time I stepped foot outside that jail cell, that was it. So the guards, they came and got me, and they put me next to this guy who had been beaten to a pulp. And Governor Pilate started asking the crowd, which one of these men do you want me to set free? I mean, it was obvious. The crowd is going to say, let Jesus go. And then I was going to tell them where they could go. And then the crowd, they started chanting Barabbas. I mean, they were saying my name. They were saying my name over and over again. The guards shoved me into the crowd and they took this Jesus off to Golgotha. 1 minute I'm a man marked for death, and the next minute I'm free. Made no sense. So I followed him all the way to Golgotha.
I was stationed at Golgotha that day. We had just raised the second criminal by the time they brought him to me. I'll never forget the way he looked. He'd been beaten, spit on, whipped. He was unrecognizable as a man. Hideous. What was left of his clothes were stripped off of him, and he was thrown down on the cross. And then I went to work. Generally, when you crucify a man, the first hand is the most difficult. The criminal wants to get away, and he fights you. So I would have 2 soldiers hold him down. But this guy, he didn't put up a fight. I just thought he was exhausted. As an executioner, I've been called every name in the book. I've had men yell at me, plead with me, but I wasn't prepared for that. He looked at us, he looked at me, and he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He forgave me.
Forgive them. He said, forgive them. Who is he? Forgive? It should have been me up there. I was the one who was supposed to be hanging on that cross. He took my place. Then I looked up, and I remember he took a deep, agonizing breath, and he said, it is finished. Then he died.